proudest day and the proudest time in the seat of a rally car, because that day and that hour and those minutes, I got the bit between my teeth. You know, I really stood up and was counted and said, this is not getting away. I remember when we pulled on our helmets and Donald says to me, what are we doing? I said, we're going for gold, Barrett. That's all we said. I can still picture that run. That was just the best run ever.
Welcome along to Krunching Gears, the Rally Podcast, Season 2, Episode 23. Connor, that time of the week again?
It is indeed, Kevin. Always look forward to it. Great chance to catch up on all things rallying.
So, as always, can you please like, share, rate, subscribe? All those things makes a huge difference. You know, you find us on all Facebook, Twitter, and on YouTube. You just type in Krunching Gears. And if there's anything you'd like to see featured, just drop us a wee email at crunchinggears@yahoo.com. This episode, we catch up with Meirion Evans and Jonathan Jackson. They tell us about their trials and tribulations in the Cork 20. Also, John Coyne, WRC Finland, fascinating tale and his thoughts on the MIRallyAcademy. And then finally, Jon Armstrong, what a year he's had. The ERC, you know, the performances he's put in has just been surreal, and he talks about that, and then he's also his hopes going forward. But Connor, what can we say? The Tarmac Championship rolled into Cork last weekend for the penultimate round. Well, once again, fascinating battle.
Absolutely. Listen, some serious competition out there, trading seconds on the stages. Josh, Meirion and Callum just hard at it again. And, tricky conditions as well. The weather didn't exactly play ball either.
Yeah, the conditions just seemed surreal. There was some stages that, maybe the first 4 or 5 cars were getting through in relatively good conditions. And then, car 6 in a row, it could have been caught in an absolute downpour, so that must be surreal. And, once again, Callum, Josh and Meirion, they were fighting over like tenths of seconds. Meirion looked as if he was, had it, he was pulling away on Saturday, Sunday morning. Then tire choice just so difficult, and unfortunately, Josh made a bit of a mistake in his tire choice, or maybe he just wasn't brave enough. I don't know, but he just dropped maybe 10, 15 seconds. That was enough to drop him out of the battle. But Callum and then Meirion were going toe to toe, and it was shaping up to be the mother of all battles going into the last stage. 2.7 seconds between Callum and Meirion, and then unfortunately the last stage was cancelled, and we were deprived of that last stage shootout. We'll never know, could he have done it? Who but didn't stop taking away from the spectacle of what Irish rallying has become.
Oh no, it didn't. Come here, it just added to it, and I suppose the fight continues on to the Ulster, and we'll see. Between Meirion and Callum, did they get the score?
And Josh is still in with an outside chance as well, too. So and then as well as that in the modified, then Eddie Dougherty and Frank Kelly had a titanic battle over the weekend, and Frank being Frank, he decided to attack a chicane as well. Seemed he smelled a bit rough come Sunday evening, but we'll not say he's any different from normal. And then, right down the historics, what a battle there was, Unfortunately, Michael McDade, who had built up a good lead on over the Saturday stages, was forced to retire early on Sunday. Then it looked as if Thomas Davis had the one, and then we think it's something maybe mechanical, but him out on the very last corner of the last stage, that must have been gut-wrenching. Yeah. But, Trevor Wilson then took the second one of the year. Like, he won the circuit in the Porsche, and then taking the Cork 21 in the Escort. Trevor hasn't done much rallying for the last few years, but good to see him back and competing at the sharp end again.
Absolutely, it's been great to see him out, and heartbreaking as well. Like, imagine retiring, pretty much last stage, last corner. That's just hard going.
That's for sure. But I think no point in us telling you much more about it. We'll hear from Meirion and Jonathan. Meirion, a very strong performance by the pair of you last weekend.
Yeah, it was, to be fair. I think one of the better ones we've had overall, to be honest. From the start, it was pretty good. We were quite aggressive with the tyre calls all weekend, which was positive, and they mostly paid off, probably apart from Sunday morning, where somehow some rain appeared from absolutely nowhere and maybe cost us a bit. But no, I'm happy with our end of everything. JJ, the boys, everything. To be fair, a perfect job. So yeah, no complaints like that.
For sure. And JJ, like we talked again, at the start of the year, like there was a different Meirion start of the year, very strong, very determined, and that ratcheted up another level again last weekend. You could see a real steeliness in Meirion, and probably in yourself as well, right from first thing Saturday morning.
Yeah, no, definitely. The Cork is one of those ones that we kind of look forward to every year. It's probably the one time of the year where we're on a bit more of a level playing field because we've done it that many more times than the other rounds in the championship, and it gives you that extra impetus, that extra motivation when you're going into the event. You have that familiarity, and I don't think there was any doubt that we were going into the event last weekend to win. Right from the go, we were on it, and it was such a great feeling. And when you're in that kind of frame of mind, you enter that other level you need in order to commit 101%, which you need these days to be at the front. So no, it was class.
Yeah, I think that extra tenth that it can be found. Like, Meirion, does it come easily whenever you're in that fight, or do you have to dig really deep to find it?
No, it comes actually very easily, and I just thought about it a bit after, because we went into Donegal on a bit of a back foot because, Killarney didn't really happen for us, we went off or whatever. But even then, our speed in Killarney was really good. We were up on Callum and Josh when we went off there even, So it was just the loss of momentum from it really. And into Donegal, we didn't really have the confidence to say, right, we're going to go and have a crack at it. And okay, Donegal is one of those rallies, I think, as well, that, is very difficult if you're traveling to it. But so I think going to Sligo, doing that helped. Obviously we didn't have obviously a great result or whatever. We're sliding off on the fourth stage, but just that little bit of mileage in between to break a 6-week gap have helped a lot. And then going to Cork, it was I kind of in my head made it my business to go and make sure that I was going to be at the races, and I think that's kind of what you need to do these days, and it's what I'll go try and do again for next weekend. It's just putting the work in, putting the time, and just committing to everything you do, and you could feel it really. Even the second stage, and like the tyre call we made on the first loop was pretty, I wouldn't say brave, I would just say it was right, to be honest, so we just went at it and thought, right, the second stage came, we knew we had a chance to take a chunk of time, and we did, so we pretty much hung on to that for most of the rally. So
yeah, like I suppose, it's having the confidence to make that tyre call and know that's right, and and then drive to it then when you have it there and below you. Yeah,
definitely. Like personally, I think if we had a bit more experience, we would have probably competed a bit better in West Cork at the start of the year as well, because we got caught obviously with Josh was braver than us that day, and like the knock-on of that meant that we tried to outdo him on the Sunday, and it turned out the safer call was the best then, and he walked away. So yeah, these things make such a difference in shaping a rally and how things turn out. To be fair to Josh on Sunday, after the first stage where he just didn't feel at ease on the Sunday, there was no point for him, going at that level, and you can just see if you drop that 10th, how much time you can lose. So it's pretty clear. But when you're at the races, it's a great feeling, and it's not good when you're not at the races because you just want to be back there all the time.
Yeah, because I remember you saying after Donegal, like it's not going to be an event that you're going to look back in 10 years going, oh, that was fantastic. I really remember that. It's going to be one of them you'll even bother to nearly almost remember it. But like, whenever it's the flow's going so well, it's so natural, like it was last weekend. That's them's the days you'll remember.
Yeah, 100%. Like we won half of the stages. I think probably more considering what 2 got cancelled for us or something. So when you feel you can pull a time out the bag like that, it's really positive. And to be honest, that's the sad thing with the last stage being cancelled, because the feeling in the car is that good. It was just, I had a feeling at the start of the stage was I can push as hard as I want to, but how much do I want to risk, kind of thing. And yeah, it's tough to marginalize the risks, because there's an R5 car, they're that good, you can step over the marker very, very quickly. So obviously we'll never know for sure, but the feeling with the car was phenomenal at the weekend, and I was really happy to get back to that, because Donegal, again, I think we just dropped out the race early, and there was no reason ever really to go and find that extra bit.
kind of a no man's land, weren't you?
Yeah, well, we were fighting with Gary and Desi at some point, and which is fine, but still, it's when you've won rallies and you're fighting for fourth, it doesn't interest you that much, but still, the boys were all going hard, and we had to. In the end, we managed to get it, but yeah, most of Sunday was no man's land. Then when Gary had an issue, I think, and we pulled away about 20 seconds, and it was just kind of cruising around, and you just feel a bit empty then compared to when you're really racing,
And like JJ, like talked about the feeling in the car when it's right. Like never it says then going into that final stage, and it's and how brave to be, or how is there a conversation there between the two of you? Like, are you hang on the boy? I'm going to hold you back a wee bit, or how much do you want me to push you, or is it just natural?
It's business as usual, right. Really.
I think my dad would sack him if he held him.
The final message from the boss as we left service was just go for it. And that's all we needed to know. Really.
Yeah.
I don't get a free rein that often, so.
In the car, it was just business as usual. I think if you start treating it any differently, that's when you start overthinking it. Perhaps mistakes will creep in at that point, and the whole thing just might collapse underneath you. So, we didn't say anything differently before the stage. We didn't act differently before the stage. It was just a case of carry on with the job that we've managed to do all weekend.
Yeah, because I suppose whenever it's working, why change it? Really, almost.
Exactly. Yeah. You don't want to introduce any other influences into that. At that point we'd already set the 7 fastest times. You'd like to hope it was an 8th, and you just carry on as we've done all weekend.
Yeah. And like Meirion, like as JJ just said, there are 7 fastest times over the stages that run. Like going into that last stage, was confidence high that you could take the 2.7, 2.8 seconds back on Callum, or I suppose you have to be confident you can do it?
Yeah. Like I have. If I don't believe in myself, then nobody will. So people ask me in the week, "Do you think you'd have got him?" And who knows? Who knows? I mean, we had the better tire. I think if there were any split times early in the stage where people are talking, it would have favoured him because he had a softer tire. Whereas we'd have come into our own at the end of the stage, which is the part we never got to do. So it's worthless talking about it.
It's not going to change it, is it? Yeah.
It's it's just one of those things that happened, and it is what it is, I guess. It's in my mind. I always look back on this rally now as the one that never finished.
Yes.
People come to me, you did second, you did well, and for me, it's like, it's not. It's probably not what it could have been, or maybe should have been in some cases.
Yeah, and you obviously have to feel robbed because you didn't. If you went into the stage and got beat by Callum, that's fair enough. You could have drew it under, but it's the not knowing almost kind of thing.
Yeah, it's, I can live with it, of course, but it's just I've never had that before in my career, to be honest, and it was a strange feeling. We were sitting there doing about probably 195 Ks, and this red alarm goes off, and then go, that's it then. It's like that. It's like somebody flicks a switch and your weekend's over.
Yeah. And then the not knowing why, because
Well, for me, it was like we're the first car on the road, so surely I instantly I thought something bad has happened behind us, and they've got to get people in from the other end or something,
Mm-hmm.
But then as you get through the stage more and more, and then obviously Callum got behind us. It was strange, very strange.
Yeah.
And I think it was a strange atmosphere at the end as well, because everybody expected this big finish. Yeah. And then 2 boys just pulled up. Like, to be fair to Callum as well, I mean, if I was him winning like that, you still feel a bit not annoyed, but it's not the same as coming out on top in a shootout like that. Like him and Josh had in Cavan, tension was big, and imagine if they'd have both driven out slowly that day, it would have been poor to watch.
The rawness goes out of it, doesn't it? Like that's always the great thing with Kelly and Andy at the end of the stage. They catch that raw emotion, that's pumping through your veins. Like you're coming off that stage, you've given everything you have, to be halfway through the stage told stop.
Yeah, and to be honest, even the spectators in the second half of the stage, the boys up on ditches, and me and Callum were following each other out, and the spectators up with their hands on their heads and putting their hands in the air, like they couldn't believe what was happening.
Yeah,
it's a shame.
That's for sure. And JJ, from your point of view too, you're fully pumped, you're full of adrenaline, and it's like just somebody, grabbing your toys off you on Christmas morning almost, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, you instantly, like you say, you've got that adrenaline pumping through, and you've already done 10k of the stage, so you're well settled in to that pace. Everything's kind of at its peak at that point, and then all of a sudden, you're starting to you instantly deflate. But then your mind kicks in wild, then thinking, why, trying to work out why, what might have happened, what the implications are, what you're going to come across, because ultimately, yes, we were the first car on the road, but obviously the historics were through first, and then you've got the 2 double O's, and you just think, well, there's something happened in front that you're not going to be aware of. Are we going to find a double O that's, or what? You just don't. You have no idea. So instantly, you go from that height of adrenaline to being quite deflated and wondering what the hell's gone on.
Yeah. You start almost going into worst case scenarios. As often as something really bad's happened here, kind of thing too. Then, so.
Exactly. That's ultimately what the red flag is there for. You automatically assume that something quite bad has happened because it had to be activated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like Meirion, from your point of view, it's probably not even known why that happened. It's been kind of brushed off, really, hasn't it? There's been no explanation of really why what happened.
Yeah, I feel for Kevin and the team, to be honest. They're brilliant. They're really, really good rally every year, to be honest. There were just a few things on Sunday, maybe running the historic thing in hindsight wasn't a great idea when you look back at it now because of what it's cost. But then, that could not have happened and it could have been greater.
Yeah.
That's it. So it doesn't, the answer, I think it bugs JJ more than me because to me, it just, we didn't get the chance to go for it and that's that. And I mean, it's just, I don't know, but maybe with his job, he has to think about these things a bit more.
Yeah, I might have a slightly...
Just get in a bad mood and drive away and say that's bad enough.
Yeah, like I suppose JJ, like your mind isn't, like not to get in the way from the driver, but you're the co-driving mind. You're the the kind of looking at the numbers, looking at the figures. You're working it out all the time. And for suddenly something doesn't compute. It's hard to deal with then.
Yeah, it is. On our side of the car, you want to know all the facts and all the figures and why something is happening. You don't want to put somebody in a position as an implication of that. So you want to immediately try and understand what's happening when all the facts aren't in front of you. It's a bit more difficult. Try not to second guess, but yeah, it's a bit different for our side.
For sure. But at the end of the day, second place in the championship keeps the championship alive going into the Ulster Rally. We have to think of the positives of this. Next weekend, the Ulster Rally, run number 1 in the door. Like, that has to be pretty special. Like, when we look at who's coming in behind you, Adrian Fermo, Josh, Callum, all the regulars there. So, number 1 in the door, Meirion, nice.
Yeah, it's nice. It's very nice. To be honest, it's nice to have it, so having won it last year. And to be honest, having Adrian there will be brilliant, I think. He's probably, as driving as well as he ever has then, with what he's been doing this year. He's, won Ypres, which was, as high a level rally you'll get outside of the World Championship. So it'll be really interesting to have him there. To be honest, championship-wise, I haven't really looked at the table. So, I know it's pretty much impossible. So we'll just go and, for me, just try and have as good a rally as we can.
Yeah, and you went with that mindset last year that you had to go to one, and you done what you set out to do. So having the positive mindset, if you can carry it in from last weekend, there's no reason why you couldn't come away with a fantastic haul of points and make Callum fight for the title.
Yeah, I mean, we're just going to go and do exactly try and do what we did last weekend, and I guess Adrian isn't going to be registered for the championship, so that's one thing, I guess. But honestly, at the moment, it doesn't bother me too much. But I just want to go and have a good rally and enjoy myself, and if we can put in a few good times against FOMO, then at least it shows the level we've been at isn't that bad after all.
And like JJ, from your point of view, like FOMO, what was it, second or third last weekend in Finland, won in Ypres earlier in the year. For you to go and pick yourself against him and his co-driver, that's kind of like That's special, especially in an event that you're actually running number one and he's number two.
Yeah, it's a brilliant opportunity. You don't often get that unless you go to Europe and beyond. So it'd be really interesting, when you're competing against somebody who's at that level constantly, you can still learn from them as well. We've got the opportunity to watch how he works, watch how they operate as a crew, and that, yes, we already feel we're at quite a good level ourselves, but you can never stop learning in this game, and to have that opportunity to watch how they work, and then ultimately compete against them and hopefully compete with them is brilliant. Really looking forward to that.
Yeah, and I think the Saturday stages are similar to last year. So I think, from that point of view, that has to help as well with the preparations going into next weekend as well.
Yeah, it does. You have that familiarity. I think 2 of the stages are identical to last year, one of which we went pretty well on the Saturday morning. So yeah, you look forward to that. It does help with the preparation, that familiarity on the ground and having the notes and everything else. It's only a benefit, really, and it definitely helps ease you into that week, and helps in the build up immediately before the rally as well.
Yeah. For sure. And Meirion, from your point of view, it's an event that you're familiar with. You said, Cork was, you felt good because it was familiar to you. So is familiarity good for you as well?
Yeah, I think it's a good thing for anyone. I find the Ulster is pretty underrated as a rally. To be fair, it's always run very well and straight. So everything. I quite like the international timing as well. It gives us a bit of time in between stages to do a bit of stuff rather than rushing. So that kind of thing is nice. And the event last year on like clockwork. To be fair, so it'll be nice. And the stages actually are very good. They're very, very different to what we did last weekend, which was kind of last year. Went into it, we were on quite a good pace at the end of the Cork 20 last year. But going to the Ulster is very unsure because the nature of the stage was so different, would be carried across. But we managed to. So I think this year we can confidently go and have a crack at it, to be honest.
Yeah, I know, it's not a huge amount of stages, but the quality of the stages in the Ulster are probably up there as good as anywhere else in the country.
Yeah, I mean, you look at last year, the total time that we won the rally with was over an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Whereas I think if you look at some of the faster southern events, they might be like 40, 50 Ks longer, but you might end up with a total time of about 5 to 10 minutes more. So, the average speed on the Ulster is generally quite a bit lower. There's a lot of work in the stages on very, very 3-dimensional roads, to be fair. A lot of up, down, down hills and dips and crests and jumps and everything. So, yeah, and very high hedges and stuff as well. So it's the nature of it all is very, very different to Cork, where it was quite fast and committed, So it's nice, It's good to have some variation as well.
Yeah, for sure. And you're going to have a teammate as well. Darren Gass is joining the team for next weekend as well.
Yeah, well, I have 2. Gary Pearson and
Gary Pearson
as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, there'll be 3 of us. So plenty to do. 3 there, and then we have 4 going to the Rally Cardigan in a few weeks then as well. So I just hope every car comes home unmarked, to be honest.
And are you doing your local rally as well, Cardigan? Then
all being well, yeah. That's kind of we're putting kind of a bit of put a mileage in, some mileage in now. Obviously, with the end of the championship, it kind of ties in well that we can go in quite fresh and have a cut at it, because over the last few years we've not had much luck on that rally at all. So we're going to try and change that this year.
That was Meirion and Jonathan, and what can we say? The Ulster is going to be epic, and then how all our guys will shape up against Formeau. I think that's going to be a real story there. Also, last weekend we had Rally Finland. Connor, it wasn't full of twists and turns.
Oh, it absolutely was. It was fantastic to watch. It followed the whole thing. What do you call it on WRC Live? And just incredible. And we had everything and again, my shocker, Terry Neuville on it from the get go. Again, whatever they've done with the setup of that car, it really is more to his liking. He was on it in Estonia. He was on it again here. Unfortunate for Lappi, just bad pace note, and again could have been a good result. And shock, our world champion went out in a roll. Good lord. I know he's not a fan of Finland stages compared to Estonia, which he always says is his favorite, and he never seems to do well in Rally Finland. But Wasn't expecting that one.
No, because it seemed very comfortable, in the first few stages, controlling the pace, setting the pace, and didn't seem to be getting flustered at all. Just seemed to be very much all under control. We mentioned last week that Elton was kind of still struggling for the optimum. But we've seen this before. Like he has one good rally, and we think, oh, he's here. Elvin's back. Hopefully, he can continue the run now. I know it's coming into the summer break, but after the summer break, it would be nice to see him now string together a few good, strong results.
Absolutely would. Again, if he has found his form with this car and it really is set up to his liking. Now, we're going in towards more tarmac geared. Once we get grease out of the way, then we're into tarmac events. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes for him. But certainly he's on a bit of a roll at the moment and could certainly be very interesting to see how himself and Neville fight it out for second place in the championship, potentially first.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if things don't go Callie's way over the next few rallies, he's certainly in trouble. I think, what is it, about a 25-point difference?
Yeah, I won bad result for Kelly again, and that could all of a sudden then be a fight for the first of the championship, never mind second, so
yeah.
And M Sport, what a disaster.
I know, absolutely. I'm hoping we didn't jinx them by talking to Jamie, but oh my god, just to lose both cars on stage 3, just unbelievable. And Tannock's is just, I don't know, it's a bit unexplainable. There is talk that Tannock is supposed to favour running a soft setup on the front of the car to get grip. So whether just, bottomed out, hit a bit of bedrock and tore the sump, I don't know. But it just seemed, when you look at the in-car again, it just seems a nothing event.
It wasn't, yes, it was a hard impact, but it wasn't, you've seen that many a worse impact and getting on, getting no dramas with it really, so. Yeah, it is, Takamoto, what can we say? Was just so proud to see, himself and Aaron doing so well.
Oh, listen, so delighted. Like they came away from Estonia, and certainly Taka was not in a good place, wasn't happy with, his performance. And I suppose pressure was on. He was competing against his team manager, because Jari Matti was out in the Arias, and also what do you call it? The boss, Toyota boss, was over as well. So the head of Toyota there.
And then, with Kelly going out so early, the pressure was on to bring it home for the team as well too. So there was pressure coming at him from all angles, but he just seemed to revel in it.
He did, absolutely did. And again, wasn't rattled by anything that Timu did. Anytime Timu upped the ante or increased the speed, Taka had an answer for him. And, in the middle of it all, Taka had a spin, losing about 13 seconds. Yeah. So again, incredible drive by him. Very impressive now for himself and Aaron. Genuinely was.
And some fastest times over the weekend as well too, which, it didn't pick up the place by default or nothing like that. There was a genuine third place.
Yeah, it was. It was a fantastic result. Just incredible to watch, and it really added to the spice of the whole thing, because there's always that fear when you lose, some of the main guys like Tannock and Rovanperä early on. You think, this is going to be a bit lackluster, but it was far from it. It was great now to see.
That's for sure. And then our own, Josh McLean, we keep extolling the virtue of him. Yep, he had a wee bit of a soft roll, but the times over the weekend, this guy is just, every time he's out, he keeps blowing me away. More and more impressive.
Listen, if you take it, Finland, not, that's a specialist event, and it's the home boys always do really well, the home boys and girls. He was setting top 5 times in the WRC2 Challenger, really was up there, on Friday and Saturday, some great results. Just a pity about the roll, but he still came back and finished, 19th overall?
Mm-hmm, yeah. I think his times on Sunday were superb, and then Eamon Kelly, how little time he's had in a Rally 2 car really, and take him away 22nd, 23rd overall, and as the weekend progressed, a really, really strong weekend. I think the time getting closer and closer to the top guys with every stage. Eamon's another young guy. We keep saying this, these MIRallyAcademy rally guys are just I don't know, a different gravy.
Listen, and look, you're right. Eamon finished 23rd, but he had issues as well. You know, he had a slight off-road excursion. He had brake issues on the Sunday and that. But what was interesting, the car was hired from Red Grey, which is Tanak's and Marco Martin's company, or their rally firm. So good that he's maybe getting noticed elsewhere. Hopefully,
That's for
with
sure.
other people looking at him.
That's for sure. Yeah. And then John Coyne, Brendan Comiskey, Paul Rowley, Enda McCormick, all those guys out there, flying the flag as well too. I think John, speak to John. John says after Finland, Ireland was the second most represented nationality on the entry list. Isn't that superb? But anyway, moving to us, we're rattling on here. We'll hear from John Coyne. John Coyne, Rally Finland last weekend. Boyhood dream come true for you?
Yeah, I would say that. Definitely a worthwhile item ticked off the bucket list now. Just amazing. I mean, the speed and the crests and the big jumps, everything lived up to its billing, right? But what I didn't expect was to add to that the fans, and in particular the Irish fans. I mean, the number of Irish flags and people out on the stages was just unbelievable. It was just a fantastic experience. But that it was still a tough rally. Those speeds of that kind of terrain really challenges your pace note making skills. And then there was quite a bit of ruts from the weather, particularly on Saturday. It was raining quite a bit on and off, and the Rally 1 cars really do a number on the soft roads. So that was quite a challenge. Something I had never dealt with before was ruts of that depth, and the real issue there is lurking in those ruts are bedrock that has now been exposed and big puncture risk. So you have to try to manage that and still maintain some forward progress, right?
Yeah, and as well, I suppose, like, if you get into them ruts, you're going wherever the ruts are going. You're not picking a line around the corner.
Yeah, you're much better off to go with the flow than to try and fight it. I can tell you that.
I can imagine. And like you're saying, the amount of Irish was over there spectating. The amount of Irish that was there competing. I think was it 13 MI Rally.
We had, I believe, 12 MI license holders.
Yeah.
Aaron with Katsuta, and then Josh and James, myself and Owen, Paul Rowley and Dara. Who else was there? Brendan Comiskey.
Yeah, and Martin Conley.
And Enda McCormick. Now, you think 13, but Enda's son Liam is an American citizen on an American license.
Okay,
so
right.
That's how we ended up with 12.
Yes.
But it was after the host country, after Finland, Ireland had the most competitors on the event.
Isn't that magic? Cool. Yeah, that is magic. Yeah. Like that just shows how far we've come in the last few years. It really does.
Yeah. So I felt pretty good about that, in that I think I may be partly responsible.
Yes.
So, that was, certainly I think the Academy project is having a little bit of an impact on raising the profile of Irish rallying and encouraging people to go abroad as well as to rally at home. So, it was fantastic to see.
Yeah, we have spoke to some of the guys over the last few months, and each and every one of them says, the MI Academy, no matter where they go in the world, people are coming up to them asking them about it. How is it organised? What's involved? And you said to us before, watch this space. This is only the start. Every week, every 2 weeks, there's more information. There's something new coming out, and for us to sit here watching it. It's phenomenal. For you to be involved in the middle of this, it must be the perfect storm.
Well, I thought I was retired, but I think I'm working harder at the minute than when I was working. But it's all good fun. So, it was actually kind of taking a weekend off for a WRC event to go do it myself was actually quite good crack. And we had two other American Rally Association crews, if you like, Paul Rowley and Enda McCormick, who I would have been competing with back in 2021, 22, when we were doing the American Championship together. And so that was a good kind of old boys reunion, and we had some good crack there with the three cars, and then Brendan Comiskey joining in that crew. So we ended up, I think, Enda was 37th and I was 38th, and Mr. Comiskey was ahead up the road at 35, and Paul Rowley had been right at that sharp end of the group before he had a slight misadventure, and he finished up 47th. But we all finished, which is really important. And then, of course, at the much sharper end, you had Josh finishing 19th despite a small trip over on stage 17. But he was on a really good pace all weekend. Right in there, about half a second a kilometre off the very top level in WRC2, which is really strong performance. And then Eamon and Connor did very well on their BRC drive, their BRC prize drive, and made, I would think, probably their best event of the year so far, in terms of the level of progress in how his stage times improved from the beginning to the end of the rally. He has that, he had his gap down to like about a little over a second behind Josh's pace. So, I mean, really, really strong event for Eamon for the weekend.
For sure. And like we just, we touched there a wee bit more on Josh as well. Like Josh was having a fantastic weekend, and then, as you say, the soft roll. But he come back again on the Sunday, and I don't know, is it fair to say he may have been let off the leash a wee bit, because the times he was setting on Sunday were phenomenal. Like, third, fourth, fifth, in the Rally 2 overall, like, not even in the challenge category as well. And like to take points on the power stage, like, this is unbelievable. A young fella from County Derry, he's originally, where he lives, is only 4 or 5 miles where I'm originally from. To see him on the world stage, it gives me goosebumps even talking about it.
Yeah, it was really impressive how Josh and James handled their return on Sunday morning and got stuck back straight into it. I mean, it was clear that the overall result had moved out of grip a bit. So the objective was to show pace on Sunday, and they got right down to business straight away. A really strong, as you say, was 5th in WRC2 on the power stage. Now, unfortunately, WRC2 only gives points for the first 3 places. The P1 boys get their points down to 5th, but nevertheless, that doesn't take away from what was a really, really good effort. And I would say he was on a pretty loose leash for the whole event. The objective for the event was to demonstrate pace, and I think he did a really good job.
That is for sure. That's for sure. Like this year in particular, he's really impressed me. Like with his pace on WRC and on the ERC as well. Like, to see how much he has progressed in the last 6 months, it's a joy to see.
Yeah, I think, one of the things about the Academy project, it's new for all of us, right? We're only 4 years into it, and we're learning all the time. So one of the things that became apparent was that I wasn't, we weren't giving Josh enough seat time to really show what he could do and to develop his skills properly. So this year, putting in the ERC, and particularly the way it turned out with such a competitive ERC field, I mean, there's probably even more so than the WRC. There are 15 guys doing ERC, any one of whom could win an event. And that is a superb forced training ground. Really helps to, the intensity of competition helps to bring your game on. And so I think that was a really good decision to put Josh in the ERC and we chose the events to be preparation for the upcoming WRC events. In terms of the nature of the events and the kind of roads and so on. And I think that's showing in the results. He's delivering the goods and getting better every time out.
For sure, for sure. And then, as you said, Eamon, like by Sunday, his times were really, really coming on an awful lot. And like we forget how little rallying Eamon has done. Really,
that's right.
And especially in a four-wheel drive car, he has very limited time in a four-wheel drive car. But even rallying in total, I would say, would he have done 30 events in total, really?
Yeah, probably something in that region. That'd be about it. But yeah, certainly a very good drive. And I think again the Rally 3 experience doing JWRC is showing that it's that's a tough championship to live in. And yes, he had a lucky result out of Croatia, but you have to be there to make your own luck, and you have to do the driving. But he is learning an absolute ton doing that championship,
for sure.
Which hopefully he'll get to put to good use next year.
For sure, yeah. And then Wald's leading the championship, so again, fantastic. He has put in the work the last 2 years and reaping the benefit of it this year.
Yeah, William is a real demonstration of how this stuff at this level is not easy. You really have to do it and then do it again, and then you get up on the curve. And William's right there this year. I think he's in a very strong position going into Greece. But as we all know, the Acropolis is a pretty much a lottery in terms of how rough and tough it is. And the design of the championship with double points and points for stage wins, it's a really savage design, if you like. It puts a lot of pressure on the competitors to keep going right up to the end. Nothing is assured.
No,
right?
It's not the kind of championship.
Yeah, it's not the kind of championship you can win on the first couple of events and stroke your way home after that. You've really got to keep on it.
That's for sure. That's for sure. And then the two MIRallyAcademy co-drivers who have progressed into the FIA Rally Stars. Again, what an opportunity for Ronan and Lorcan. This is this is probably beyond their wildest dreams at the start of this year. This is another step again. But the training they've been given with the MIRallyAcademy has made that transition a lot easier for them.
I would hope it was. It made the transition a little easier and I mean made the opportunity appear. That's a great program. Wow, all your birthdays have come at once if you get on that onto that program. It's really well designed and it's being well run. So yeah, I'm looking forward to see how the progression is there.
That's for sure.
But it's a absolutely stunning opportunity.
Yeah. And then, we haven't even mentioned Patrick O'Brien. Patrick has went about his business in a very, very smart way. He's done nothing silly. He's took his time. He's learning the roads. He's learning the events and learning his craft. More importantly, there's a big step up from doing the likes of a bushwhacker rally, a one-day event at home, to suddenly doing 3 days and an ERC round. But he has just took to it like a duck to water, himself and Stephen.
Yeah, he's done very well this year. It is drinking through a fire hose, right? Because these events, one European Championship event is the equivalent of the entire forestry championship, right? In kilometers.
Yeah.
So, and then the conditions that you typically find are a lot more extreme than what we get at home. So it's a huge learning curve when you go to this level of event, and they've been handling it really well. He's done a couple of WRC events, and a few ERC events, and each one, they've made it through to the finish, and they put in some good times, and I mean, I think you'll see Patrick when if he does another event at home, you'll see an even more mature and polished driver than when he went out to start the ERC campaign. So, yeah, absolutely. Again, Aoife Raftery doing the same thing. I think there were a lot of people blown away down in Cork at the Moonraker when she popped up in the old Fiesta R2. And it was like, where did this speed come from? Right. And that was Poland and Latvia. So she did the 2 ERC rounds there, and got several seasons worth of Irish forestry under her belt in 2 rallies, and then demonstrated at home just how much that learning is worth. Right.
For sure. And then we're even then Kyle McBride, Jack Brennan. These guys are all producing results. Both in Ireland and in the UK with Kyle over doing the JBRC. This, as you keep saying, this is only the start. We're only tipping along here at this stage. This is the conveyor belt. That's what I'm probably going for. The conveyor belt is keep moving along.
Well, I think that's probably one of the most rewarding things to look at, is the way that the base of the pyramid is building out. Like, since we started this thing, I think I mentioned on a previous chat with you that the first forestry event in Ireland after we started the academy, there were 3 J1000 cars. And this year, there are 20 cars, of which 17 or 18 turn up to each event, which is absolutely fantastic to see. And between the autocross committee and the forestry committee, getting youngsters into these cars at 13 years of age, and then having a structure for them to compete and develop up till 17, 18, and then pop up into the Rally 1, older R2s, Rally 4 cars as their next step at home. I mean, it's a nice progression that we're trying to provide short-term incentives in prize funds and so on, but also the vision that you can progress through these steps and end up being the next Josh, who's aspiring to be the next Craig Breen.
Yeah, that's for sure. Because it's only a few years ago that Josh was in a J1000 car. And
2019, I think.
Yeah, like when you think of it, within 4 or 5 years, he's competing.
Actually,
no, 2016, 17.
2018, I would say.
17, 18. So within 5, 6 years, he's gone from being junior 1000 to competing in, WRC2. It's, whenever you put it like that is kind of mad.
So I think, it's been been a very good year so far. I think we've got a lot of development under our belt. At home here, you mentioned Kyle in the British Championship, and but at home there's some very strong competition going on in the Rally 1, Rally 5, R2, Rally 4. You've Dylan Eves, you've Keelan Grogan, you've Cian Caldwell, you've got the KCJ. There's a bunch of them out there every other weekend, and the competition's tight.
It is they're having stages, and there could be 3-4 seconds covering 5 of them.
So it's really interesting to see that, and to see more people in Ireland taking to the FIA pyramid homologated path. And hopefully there will be a few of them who turn out to be serious, and we can see them progress right up to the top.
Yeah, for sure. And like, we should also mention Matthew Boyle and young McHugh as well. And that as well,
Right,
and that
right.
and the, whereas 2, 3 years ago there may have been 2, 3 Rally Two cars, R2 Fiestas. Now all of a sudden, nearly every event there could be 6, 7 of them. So as you say, it's
Mhm.
going the right way, and it shows young guys that there is a ladder there.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm pleased to see that level of potential out there. I
For
mean,
sure.
we have talent. It's showing and it's beginning to show stronger. And I think with the right underpinnings, we can help them to go further.
For sure. For
And I
sure.
mean, we're looking. Obviously, Sean and myself are continually reviewing the program, but we're looking now at what we should do for 2024. And I mean, for sure, we'll keep in place the kind of process of selecting the next crop for
Mhm.
the academy, and then subject them to or expose them to the kind of baseline skills training, like the fundamentals of physical and mental fitness and nutrition, and uh, a little bit of media training, and then some pace note and driver coaching, all the kind of fundamental basic skills that'll help them to improve their performance. And then try to guide them into the right programs that'll stretch them and help them continue to improve.
And the one thing that I say, what I find fascinating about it is the likes of Josh and Eamon and these guys are giving back to these young guys coming up through. They're helping out the junior 1000 guys. It's not all about me, me, me. They're putting in the hard yards for the next, almost the next generation coming up now as well.
Well, that's part of the price of participation, right? So, yeah, and it's quite exciting. We're working with Sport Ireland to produce an accredited coaching program that will help us to formally structure that and train the likes of Josh and William and Eamon so that they can properly coach the next level, and so on, trickle down
Yeah.
uh, that way. And we have uh, Paul Nagel and Derek Brannigan are lined up to get their qualifications so they can help us with that coaching program. And I mean, it's probably one of the most satisfying things is the number of established figures within Irish rallying over the last 50 years,
Yeah.
um, who've come forward to help in the project and provide their experience and their skills to help us bring on the next generation. I mean, it's really cool to see.
That's for sure. Like that has to, we know how good rallying is, but it's nice to see it being put into practice. You say, the likes of Paul Nagel, Derek Brannigan. I know Rory Kennedy's involved, the Shinners is involved.
Right.
The names we could just keep going on and on. The amount of people, but and like yourself as well. And like we should maybe give yourself a bit more praise for this. Like at 73 years of age, you took on the challenge of Finland at the weekend, and you just seem to relish it. It says, I was read there recently, you're the oldest competitor from a Motorsport Ireland competitor to compete in a WRC event. Like, I would say you're a long way from being done. So you're going to push that envelope out even further over the next few years, I imagine.
I'll try and do a bit. I'm the oldest MI competitor. That'd be Mick Morrissey at the minute. Um, but I may be the oldest driver. Yes, I
Yes.
think so.
Uh-huh.
Um, but I've still a long ways to go. Mr. Zazada did the WRC Kenya 2 years ago at the age of 91 in a Rally 3 Fiesta. Now, unfortunately, he got stuck in the fesh on the very last stage, which must have been a real bummer.
Yeah.
Um, that's why I bring a young co-driver so he can dig me out, right? So, um, so I mean, kudos to Owen Tracy over the weekend. He did a sterling job on organization and notes and keeping me on the straight and narrow. So, um,
Look, Kevin, every week we hear about the MI Academy, and every week we're blown away by what's going on. So it was great that John Coyne, with Owen Tracy sit beside him, were there to, revel in the whole atmosphere of it and bring something back and get to compete and tick one off the bucket list.
For sure, for sure. And then you also got a chance to catch up with Jon Armstrong.
Absolutely. Listen, thought it was a good time to check in with Jon Armstrong. He's been doing fantastic in the ERC. He's taken the Rally 3 Drivers' Championship and also has been out for a spin on the Rally 2 side of things with MRF tyres. And we got a chance to catch up and discuss what's been happening this year for him. Congratulations, ERC Rally 3 champion.
Thank you very much, Connor. Yeah, it's really good to wrap up the title. Going into the start of the year, I didn't really know how long the campaign would be, but it's really good that we got the opportunity from Sport Poland to do numerous rounds of the championship, and in the end, we were able to win 5 out of 5 rallies, which was cool. Not every rally we had direct competition, but on the rallies we did, we were quite far ahead, so that was really, really good to do. And isn't it nice to have a title to my name? I don't really have any big titles before this one. Obviously missed out on the Junior WRC twice the last 2 seasons, so this kind of makes up for it. And yeah, it's really cool to just do those rallies and to gain experience, but also try to go as fast as we can at the same time.
And I suppose, John, as well, when you started out doing the ERC events this year, you didn't quite know, where it was going to lead or how many events you're going to get to do. So the fact you wrapped the title up with still 2 rounds of the ERC to run, as well, that's good going.
Yeah, it is. I think it probably is a testament to the team and the car. They are very, very professional, and every rally the car is turned out effectively like a mini works car. A small works car. It's like spanking new, and the team, they know what they want to try for each rally, and my engineer always has an idea of what he wants to do from the test, the pre-event test, and what they want to try, and they just have their ducks in a row, and it makes our job easy then. And the reliability has been fantastic. The car hasn't missed a beat all year, so it's down to them as well that we've been able to have no retirements, and we've done a good job on the stages. Had really good rallies, some better than others, but in general the pace has been really high, and comparing to the Rally 2 cars, even last weekend at Rally Roma, the second per kilometer was really good for tarmac, especially. It was on Sunday, it was well under 2 seconds per kilometer, the fastest. I think it was like 1.8. So versus last year, they had obviously they've upgraded the car and everything. So last year I think it was 2.6 and we were doing 1.8 on the same rally. So it was a big improvement, and that gives everyone, good motivation boost that the work that we're doing is improving the car. Everyone's going forward, and the timesheets are looking better, and that's what we always want to see. So yeah, I wasn't really focusing on the championship too much. Unfortunately, they don't have entries every rally for ERC3, and I think it is a shame because they're really, really good cars to drive, very easy to drive, and if you had a field of 10 of them, like you do in Junior WRC, it could be really interesting. So hopefully now with this year, and maybe with me doing it and them Sport Poland, putting a lot of effort into it, it's got a good bit of attention. So, and we've got the Renault Clio as well now. So hopefully next year ERC3 will have a bit more bigger entry to it. So we'll wait and see how that goes. But yeah, it's definitely a great class, and to win any championship is really nice, and it's not always as easy as it looks, but yeah, thankfully we've had a really good run.
And you're not there just for your own entertainment or your own goals. Like it's basically a development for M Sport, or you're helping them with the development of the car. So how do you kind of pace yourself and maybe restrain yourself at times when you maybe want to go, flat out and on the door handles?
I don't know if that is the case. They have high expectations of what they want, and usually that's to go as fast as you can on the rally without having any issues or going off the road. So it's quite simple, actually. It's all about just trying to do the best job we can and have the best pace we can. They use this program as a way to highlight their development and how the car is improving and areas maybe they need to improve on, and obviously put the car in the spotlight against the Rally 2 cars, and just try to obviously generate more interest in the class, and generate more sales for M Sport Poland. So it is very much a case of just trying to go as fast as we can and set some good pace. And we've done that across the year. Some rallies suit the car better than others, but we've set some really nice stage times, and I like I said, I really enjoy the car, and the team they're so motivated as well. They really want to win, which is really good to be a part of. They're all very driven, and you can tell that it's a benefit to each and every one of them. If they can get their car to win, then Maciek, their boss back at M Sport, will be happy with them, and it progresses their career too. So it's very much just a team effort, a family effort, and to try and get the best we can out of everything. So it is a pure pleasure to be a part of, and it's really cool to get that opportunity, because you always want to be able to be a driver that is essentially let's say hired in quotes to come and do a job, and to be like a works driver almost. So it's really cool for me to be a part of, but it comes with its pressures, of course, and you just have to try and do the best you can.
And with the championship in the bag, and I know that wasn't the ultimate goal of the team, is that the development work complete, or is there still more planned for the rest of this year?
So we plan to go to Barham with Rally 3, which will be an interesting rally. It's a very famous rally that I've followed through IRC and European Championship over the years. Very bumpy and technical and fast in areas too, and lots of mud and dirt if it rains. So it looks like an interesting event. I think it's one that it's probably not the easiest to go with a really high pace on from your first go, but I thought that also with Rome, and it went pretty well. So we just try to do what we always do, just go with sort of a plan or a system of go do your test and get a feel for how it all feels, and then go to do the recce and try to just have an understanding of what the roads and character of the roads are like, and then make your notes just as you always do, try to make them consistent, and then drive to them on the rally. So in terms of that rally, I think it's just we don't bring upgrades every event, but it's more a case of just trying to prove out the Evo version of the car, find better settings for the car, and take it from there. In Rome, I was much more happy with the car, in terms of, for me, the way it was set up and everything, than I had in Canaries. But they're two different events. But yeah, it's always trying to find a better window for things to work in, and then obviously the engineers, they collect all of the data, the setups, and they'll store those away, and they can offer those out to customers so that customers have better settings to work from as well, and that essentially then they'll be potentially more comfortable and faster on national events then as well, off the back of what we do. So it it's all just about trying to prove the car out and get good results, and also get as much information as they can as well.
And you had a similar role recently on the Royal Rally of Scandinavia, where you were doing a bit of development work for MRF tires. Yeah, that was a really interesting opportunity to come through GN Motorsport, and I teamed up with Julia, who I drove against in Junior WRC. She was co-driving for Robert Vervez, who went on to be the champion last year. So the opportunity came through her, and she works with that team, and they have the Ford Fiesta Rally 2s. So it was obviously from the get-go a very interesting thing to get involved with. I've been trying to get an opportunity in a Rally 2 car, so it was good to take this and to try and make it happen, to get some more experience in Rally 2. I think on paper I knew it wasn't going to be my strongest rally to go and do a one-off drive on with the Rally 2 car. It's very fast rally, new stages for everyone, and obviously I had a lot to learn with a new co-driver, new tires, and also a new car. So but yeah, it was a good challenge to take on. We had a pre-event test where we could try out the tires and try to get set up with the car, you could probably never have enough testing to try and get on top of all those things, and the test roads can be maybe slightly different than what you find on the events. So for sure, I think it would take a few events to sort of find the right ballpark of where I would like everything to be, but the team done a great job in trying to get to the right place. We had some support from M Sport themselves with dampers and setup, and then I was very lucky to have Niall McShay come out and help me, and help the team also during the event, just to try and make sure that they're almost like Niall's obviously a world champion and does driver tuition, but he's fantastic at setup as well. So it was great just to have him there, that he could come in the test with me, sit in the passenger seat and try to get an understanding of where I was at with the car, and some advice then on where the setup could improve, just from his feeling from the passenger seat. So that was really good. And then also he was able to just be that link, that sort of middleman between the team and me, and have a clear
understanding of what I was trying to get across. So that was really good. But yeah, the event itself, I would say it went really well. You know, we enjoyed ourselves. The recce went well. The pace notes were good. I think the pace was fairly good too, especially towards the end of the event. We weren't a million miles away, but we were slightly hampered by our road position. After qualifying, we were then 5th on the road on day 1. And then on the second day, thanks to me, I think I was 15th, and then it's top 15 reverse, so I had to open the road, which was interesting, but a new experience as well, and something that I actually quite enjoyed, even though if it was hampering my progress. I enjoyed driving in front of everyone, being the first car that they see, and then obviously getting to create my own lines through the stages was quite interesting. And yeah, we created a couple of interesting lines here and there. But yeah, and obviously the all live experience was really cool too. We had a camera in the car, which everyone could follow us through the rally and see us driving through the stages, and that was really good exposure for me and for Julia and for my personal sponsors as well. It was something really cool to do, and of course the goal now is to try and develop that relationship further with MRF and hopefully be able to do a full campaign next year. But of course there's still a lot of work involved to put all of the pieces of the puzzle together. So we'll continue to work with the team and work with MRF and see what we can put together. But yeah, overall it was a really cool experience, and big thank you to MRF Tires and everyone involved, GN Motorsport, and my personal sponsors too, Seacon UK and C&M Motorsport Sales and Thrustmaster. So yeah, it was a really cool thing to do.
And is it, obviously MRF's participation is around the development of their tires. So is it a similar sort of feedback, as to what you'd be given, for the Rally 3 car, or is it a completely different set of feedback? How where is the difference, or is there a difference?
Yeah, it was slightly different, I guess, because I was coming in as doing one rally with MRF. I wasn't doing any of the testing between the events with the tires. They have a couple of drivers, I think, that they use for development testing. But in Sweden they had a few different options to try, and it was just, there was no pressure on me to really try to help with the development. It was more to experience all of their options and see what worked for me, and then just try to make the most of it. Their philosophy is more trying to give their supported drivers everything they need in order to win, to get the results. So they are very driven in trying to keep moving forward with tire development, and to bring new tires, and to just make sure they can give the best they can to their drivers. So hopefully in the future I might have more opportunity to get involved with the actual iteration and feedback. But the tires, they feel really good. I enjoyed the testing that I done before the event and on the rally. It was really fun as well. And like I said, everything was so new. I still had a lot of things that probably I can tune a bit better with the car, and also driving style is a lot different with the Rally 2 compared to Rally 3. So I'm sure there's more time to be had out of me than the rest of the package. So it's just trying to get everything gelled together so that whatever I want to do with it, it just happens naturally. But yeah, it was a super fast rally, crazy stages. And yeah, we're up against some of the best drivers in the world. Hayden Paddon and Oliver Solberg are really, really fast drivers on that style of road. And obviously they've been at the highest level of the World Rally Championship as well. And, even Mats Osberg and people like that. So it was cool to benchmark myself against them. Probably I would have liked to have been a bit closer, but realistically it was probably in the right ballpark of where I was going to end up. So maybe on a different style of rally I could have been a bit closer, but I'm still, there's a lot of positives to take from it, and I know I could go faster for sure. So yeah, it was a really good thing to be involved in, and now it just makes me want to try and make more happen next year.
Yeah. And was there much of a learning curve stepping up from the Rally 3 car into the Rally 2 Fiesta?
I would say the Rally 3 car is fantastic. It, preparing you for that step up to Rally 2. Nothing feels alien. It the driving style and everything is primarily the same, but I think to get the most out of the times, it's a lot different in terms of the chassis and the suspension. It moves around a bit more. The cars are a bit, they've got more suspension travel, so like it doesn't feel as low and let's say as rigid as what the Rally 3 does. So there was a lot of different feeling from the chassis. I would say that's probably the biggest thing. And just trying to get your head around where I need to go to get more speed out of it, and make me more comfortable, and to just be faster with it essentially. It's a part of rallying that it's talked about a lot, but probably it's not that easy to understand unless you are a driver, like how setup can influence the speed. And it's just it is hard to find the right direction to go in a short space of time, and to just learn everything. But in saying that, I would say we did have a really good setup by the start of the event, and we improved it throughout the event as well. And by the end of the event, it felt really good, and it was a lot more natural. But still, I know that for sure, based on stage times, that there's more to be had out of it. And yeah, I think that just comes with more seat time. I haven't actually done too much gravel rallying with a Rally 2 car, so yeah, there's still a lot to learn probably. I've done three tarmac rallies in the past with a Rally 2 car, but not too many gravel.
And you mentioned seat time, and look, obviously it's in short supply, rallying's expensive, etc. And putting the budget together is pretty tough work. Like, is that kind of the aim now for the rest of the year, in between going to the Czech Republic to rally? Is it a case of out now looking and talking to sponsors?
Yeah, definitely. We'll do Czech Republic now, like you said, but for sure I've got one eye now on just trying to put together proposals to go to potential sponsors with, and it's difficult though because you do have to think outside the box with these things. Nowadays, it's very hard to just go to a random company and try to convince them to get involved in rallying. So you kind of have to do a bit more research into logical people to approach or businesses, and it's almost a bit like developing let's say relationships and like just getting to know new groups of people that might be able to open opportunities. That's more of what you try to do. And of course, yeah, you're approaching some potential sponsors, but yeah, to get the volume of budget required is quite hard from marketing budget. So it's always an uphill battle, but there's no other way for it and to give it a go. And yeah, if you start at this point, we still got quite a lot of time before the start of the 24 season. So yeah, for sure, that's where the focus will go. And yeah, I really would like to work with MRF tires again if I can, but we'll just have to see how the off season goes now with trying to get the other elements into place with a team and the running costs of the car and stuff like that. So yeah, we'll have to see, but for sure that's the aim.
And with the rallying side of things having been busy this year, do you have much time for doing the esports? You were esports champion a couple of years ago. Do you still get the chance to, I suppose, keep yourself match fit?
I do still hop on the simulator before rallies and just try to train, but in terms of competing in actual competitions, I don't do too much of that anymore. I might do the odd community event or something like that just to keep in touch, but and do it for fun more than anything rather than taking it too seriously. But for sure, esports was very good to me in winning the WRC sports in 2018, and it was a good stepping stone to going back into real rallying and probably why I'm where I am today. So yeah, always want to do whatever I can to be involved in it. And yeah, but in terms of the simulator, I hop onto it before the rallies just to maybe get a bit of a feeling for driving with pace notes before the rally, just to listen to pace notes and react to them. I think it's always a very good thing to do just to get your brain working. So for sure, it's trying to find a stage that I haven't done already, which is maybe the hard part, to try and not know where I'm going and just listen to the pace notes. But for sure, yeah, I love to train on the simulator, and it's always has a soft part and something I've always really enjoyed doing. So yeah, try to keep myself sharp doing that.
And John, just before we wrap up, also want to mention Cameron, your co-driver this year. What do you call it? Provisionally could be the ERC co-driver champion, just waiting for that but also that was his first time, or is his first time, competing outside of the UK, am I right?
Yeah, I think he might have done Barbados, but that was about it. I don't think he counts that as the sort of international ashore sort of rallying. So yeah, it was something new for him to get stuck into this year. And I met Cameron through doing gravel notes on Rally Monte Carlo with Sean Johnson and Alex in 2022. So I could see that, yeah, he had a desire to get involved at that level. And I knew he had a few opportunities that didn't come through for him. So I was keen to, while I'm always keen to try and give people opportunities with that sort of thing. So yeah, it was logical. I couldn't get Brian in for various reasons, and then I got Cameron in, and it was just logical to keep him on then, to try and get the drivers' championship for him, because the first rally we done together was Canaries, and then we done Poland 2 weeks later, and we had 2 wins on the bounce. So it was then a case of trying to get the title together. So, but he's done a really good job, and really good crack as well. We have a lot of fun just doing the rallies. So, but he's professional on the other hand, and yeah, he done a really good job this year. And it can be hard going to those rallies and trying to learn everything as a co-driver if you haven't experienced it before. It's like one of those things where you can probably take all the advice that you want, but until you go and do it, it's a different ball game. So, yeah, he done very well, and really deserves the title. So yeah, we'll see what happens now in the future, and yeah, it's always nice to. You can't take credit, but it's nice that Cameron was able to come and do his first rallies outside the UK with me, and yeah, like I said, we have great crack together. So yeah, there'll be plenty of stories to share probably down the line.
Listen, you on those events you spend a lot of time, so it's important that you click with a person that you're going to spend that amount of time with. And great then that Cameron was able to share in the success and contribute to the success of the work you've done in the ERC this year. Yeah, definitely. Like you said, you're spending long recce days together, and most of the time it's almost a week that you're away together. So yeah, you have to be able to get along, and that's something that I've always tried to look for in co-drivers, is a similar personality, similar interests, and similar drive as well. You need someone that wants to win as much as you, and wants to put the work in with the videos. But after the recce, you've just had a long day of making pace notes, and then to go back to the hotel and open up the laptop and go over videos together, then it takes a special drive and motivation, and you have to have someone that wants to do that. And but there's obviously lots of other aspects to the whole rally week, and yeah, you just need someone who puts in the best effort they can, and like I said, that you can still have a bit of crack with too whenever the time is right. But yeah, like I said, Cameron done a really good job, and yeah, I think at the start of the year he was planning on selling the helmet and taking a year out, and yeah, then he got a phone call from me and it all kicked off again. So yeah, but I need to go over to Mull to his chip van. He has the most famous chip van I think in Mull, and yeah, every time he talks about it, my mouth starts to drool. I want a fish and chip, so I'm gonna have to head over and get one. Yeah, and a good excuse to watch rally cars in Mull as well. Yeah, that's it. It would be nice to go over. I've never been to the rally, so yeah, Cameron was he done it last year himself, driving in a Nova. So we have like a love of Novas together too, because my first rally car was a Nova. So yeah, we'll have to maybe go over and do it sometime.
Thanks to John there for what a year he's having. It has been phenomenal. long may it continue. Also, just last minute, got a chance to catch up with Shane and John, the Arias Adventures guys, the two guys in the horseback from Donegal to Dingle from last week, just to hear how they're getting on and their latest escapades. So, without further ado, hear from the two boys. Shane and John, you joined us once again. You're at the Puck Fair, the finish line almost in sight, but what an adventure you're having.
Bloody, it's a serious adventure. A trip of a lifetime. While we've been raising money for brilliant causes and bringing Arias' name to every county that we pass through as well. So
the public has been phenomenal. The reception we've received, you know. But we couldn't have done this without the help of everybody that was involved: horse owners, blacksmiths, vets, and especially Tracy and the van.
Because, like, you know, we're watching online every day. The ways are being welcomed into communities. Like everywhere you go, every village, every town. You know, the response has just been mind blowing from me watching it. I don't know what it's been like for you guys involved there.
It's been absolutely unbelievable. Hey, I can't. Well, I'm just saying there to someone, if you don't, we haven't listened to a radio station because we're obviously out on the road all day, and I haven't heard or seen a negative thing all in the last 13 days. With the fellow countryman and countrywoman have been looking after us, feeding us, watering us, and even we crossed over the ferry. What was the ferry from?
Tarbert. Climber to Tarbert.
And we got to the other side, and the reception we got there was just a massive crowd there waiting on us. You know, it's sometimes you sit back and think it's unbelievable. So it is.
Yeah, and this started out, Shane, as like an idea in your head. It's become a reality. Are you almost pinching yourself the way that it's went down with the general public?
I'll give that one to Shane.
Yeah, look, it was thought it was a mad idea at the time, maybe, but
I don't think you thought it was as mad as what I did.
It was as mad as it was, but
yeah,
I didn't think it was mad, but when I started, then I started to question myself.
Yeah.
But look, we're here now. We're nearly there. We have one more day to go, and
when I was leaving here, I honestly didn't know what to expect when we were going. Shane just wait, look after a horse there, back in a minute. So we once we left, I back again. I honestly can't believe the way we got. We're on the move here. The way people's accepted us and the way they've got behind us. It's the boss woman there. We're definitely gonna remember this for a long, long time.
Yeah, as you said there, Tracy has been instrumental. She's been driving this through social media as well as Kevin as well too. And the amount of people that is followed you online, kept up to date with what's going on. It's fantastic to see, and great. That shows what Ireland's really about. We can see all this negativity in the news and people saying this and saying that, but you're out there experience what real Ireland's like. The way you've been welcoming people's town hearts. Yep.
Every town from we went through, like small or big, as Mon said, the one horse towns we went through. Well, there was 3 in them that day. We
had Puck village. We were in some little village in Clare, and this fella in a truck, he drove up and down 4 times before, and then he stopped and he goes, had to check to make sure it was horses. He says,
yeah, it's and everywhere we go along, everybody just that's the thing. People. I walk from here down to the van. I left the van in a dress and hat. And people are looking at it kind of strange, but when you're on a horse, they think it's cool. And I think it doesn't seem cool when you're walking down with no horse. But definitely before we tomorrow after on Friday when we're finished, I don't know what we're going to do Monday to kind of match. Come back to work, going to seem very plain.
Yeah, John, Shane is the real horseman here. You've been.
I'm the cowboy.
Yeah, you're the cowboy.
Did he tell you he was building sandcastles there one of the days? We were in the hench and John decided to build the sandcastles.
We decided we would take a wee detour onto the beach, and I found out the brakes are very good on a 14-hand pony. They're better than any Mark II ever. I ended up down. I was picking up a couple of sandcastles for a minute, but I was down very quick and I got up even quicker before anybody get a picture.
Yes. But again, we have to reiterate, this is the money here is all going to, Ronald McDonald House and the kennels as well, Keane's Kennels. Yeah, the care that they give to yourselves, Shane, a couple of years ago, was outstanding. It's nice to be able to give that back again.
It was unbelievable, they gave us a bed, they gave us someone to talk to, somewhere to go, you could do it, it was home to us. Like we had to move everything to Dublin. And then Keane's Kennels took the dogs, so we didn't have to worry about them either. But look, we're trying to get as much as we can. We're nearly at the 15,000 online. We'd love to get it blown out of the water maybe, but look, we 15,000. It'll go a long way to keeping, it'll keep a lot of families going up there.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, that's what this is all about. Yes, it's great, the adventure you guys are having, but this is going to be life changing for all our families. You're going to provide them the same opportunities you were provided with.
Yeah, look, it's hopefully it's going to help a lot of people out, and it's not nice to be in that situation, but it's not until you're in it that that you realise where you are. But yeah, hopefully it'll help a lot of people.
That's for sure. And John, from your point of view, we talked about last week about the rally community. You've been part of this bigger community now. It must show you Ireland's still a good place to be.
Ireland, I'm telling you, I have totally has opened my eyes to a different part of Ireland. And that's what I was saying. Something, if you wanted to see the true Ireland, just leave on a bike or walk or a horse and go from one end of the country to the other, and you'll find a different country. You'll find it's not what's on the news. Yeah. I can put that in paper.
RT, Eleni, what did you say, John?
I said the only way we get on RT is if we were splattered over the front of a scanner lorry. Thank God that hasn't happened yet.
No. So once again, if you want to donate, I donate Arias Adventures, or look us up on Facebook, Arias Adventures, and you'll see all the details there.
That's right, yeah.
And you're in Puck Fair today, Thursday, and then you're heading off and coming in, finishing off tomorrow.
Yeah, we're in the Puck Fair. We're in Puck Fair today. We'll probably go in around Killorglin for a spin around, and we're staying up in Inch tonight, and we'll be heading on there to Dingle. So it's about 25 miles. So we'll head off in the morning and hopefully get into Dingle sometime around 3 o'clock maybe.
Excellent. Well, if anybody's in the area tomorrow, I'm sure you'll be delighted to get a reception there on your way into Dingle tomorrow. So if you're there, anywhere in the area, please come along. There'll no doubt somebody will shake a bucket at you. If you can, give what you can.
Oh yeah, anybody who wants to come out along the road, or we've been stopping. We've had so many people stopping us
all the way along.
All the kids are looking to get on the horse, and so anybody that wants to come out, we'll be an Inch this evening, I suppose, and tomorrow morning, and heading on for Dingle, and we're there for the weekend.
Kerry hasn't disappointed so far yet, so I'm sure tomorrow will not be any different. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, men, safe journeys, and we'll catch up with you next week.
Hi, gentlemen.
Thanks a million, Kevin.
I just think this is a fascinating thing. Imagine riding the horses, from all the way from Donegal down to Dingle. It is just a crazy idea. The two guys who made it happen, along with their team there, Tracy, Shane's partner, and all too. She has been there with them every step of the way, and it's just been phenomenal. And to see the response it's been got is just fantastic. Well done, Ireland. If you can donate, it's the I Donate page, and search up Arias Adventure and look up it on Facebook as well too. It's all the information's all there. So that is season 2, episode 23. So until the next time, take care. Oh, can you please like, share, rate, all those things is always gratefully appreciated. There's any ideas you'd like to have on the podcast, drop us a wee email or send us a message on social media. You find us anywhere there, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Just search up Krunching Gears and you'll find us there. So until next time, take care, speak soon, and bye.